FNCS Global Championships is this weekend, the 7th and the 8th of September. I'm about to do predictions to see who I think is going to win and which team is going to come bottom from Middle East. No, from a small region team, probably not going to do well. I'll probably spend a bit of time hating on the small region teams as always, but all love, all respect. If you want to watch my expert analysis of it, of course, I'm actually going to be live on my main channel and on Twitch watching it, doing a viewing party for both Saturday and Sunday. So come see how wrong these predictions are. Right, let's have a look at the actual map first. There we go. Shout out to FN Comp Report for the map. This is where everyone seems to be landing immediately off the rip. So all of the red areas, if you don't know, are teams that are probably contesting each other. It seems like, interestingly enough, a couple of the more important fights, Resigns and Demo, who were originally landing over to the west, let me see if you can actually see that there, now appear to be conning Clicks and Veno and playing for the forecast tower here, which is going to play in massively, probably into Clicks and Veno's benefit. Let's be real, Resigns and Demo, not a particularly strong team in comparison. Maybe they'll give them a fight, but this could also just be free surge for Clicks and Veno. We also have two Polish teams landing directly next to each other. We'll see how that one plays out, but no one contesting Kamień City currently. They were pretty stinky last season, but losing off spawn to two console players in FNCS Grand Finals. They weren't playing on console at the time, but they were predominantly console players. So, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if someone surprise cons Kamień City, in at least if they're not doing well in day one, maybe into day two. This is going to be an interesting spawn fight down here. Acorn Cold against Andlex and Sato. And Acorn and Cold are one of those teams that if they win off spawn, like they could absolutely basically pop off in that entire game. This could be free surge for them. But Andlex and Sato are a really, really good team still. They did really well in Major 1 and in Major 2. This entire bottom here, let me see, make sure I've got this in, of just all uncontested teams in this area is going to be really interesting for Surge in particular, because now this meta, no movement since the jetpacks aren't in competitive, which means that basically most of your rotations have to be early. It's really difficult to third-party fights because you have to walk there. You can't just use mobility to get there. So a lot of these teams who are contested off spawn, especially on the edge map, might actually benefit a little bit from this initial surge. Whereas all of these teams down here, yeah, they're uncon, that's great, but you know, how are they going to manage their surge? There's such a large amount of space around them. There's no really good weapons for dealing long-range damage, so super interesting. Like a lot of really good teams down here. I feel like, in all honesty, Kadu and Cian are just going to get held by all of these teams in front of them on rotation. So, good luck to these guys. Quiz and Thomas seem to be uncon. They've been practicing off spawn. If you don't know, 916 Gone is the Brazil player who ended up filling with Quanti. Then Quanti was a fill, essentially one of the options, and he basically was like, actually, can I play with this Brazil player? And Epic Games and Blast said yes. So Quanti wasn't there, and then Quanti complained to Blast or Epic, one of the two, don't know, and basically fought his way back into the duo. So Gone, not happy that he's playing with Quanti as a fill, even though he chose him, but then dropped him, had to pick him back up. So this is another Brazil team here, Ed and Persa. So I imagine Ed and Persa may be getting some free surge off spawn onto Gone and Quanti. Kramsu and Clone are a Spanish team who went over to Middle East to qualify, which is pretty nuts. So they're a Middle East team. Rise and Agers in the center here are also a Middle East team. One of the Middle East players couldn't make it, so he picked Agers to play with, and then the other person also couldn't pick it, so then Agers got to pick Rise. So there are now two NA players who are technically from Middle East, which is pretty funny. Malibu Mustache contested by Alex and Worthy. This is going to be demoralizing for Alex and Worthy. I'll be completely honest with you. Alex and Worthy last year were not good off spawn. They weren't particularly good in NA last season. And Malibu Mustache, when conned, always do good. Even if they only win half their games off spawn, they always do good in those games. So, you know, this could be rough. There's also not that many people who can third party here. King of Phaser takes a minute to get there. Batman Booga Rapid maybe could dash water over to third party in, and Rise and Agers drop like maybe a little too far south. Maybe they could pad in or use the Fizz Ring if they get a Fizz early to come in third party this fight. So it could be a bit of a mess. It could go wrong for everyone if it lasts a little while, but I see Malibu Mustache coming way out on top here. And the Raft, currently one of the hottest POIs this season, as you can see. Now it seems like Trashing Threats are trying to land to the north. Swizzy Yapco are maybe more to the southwest. Peterbot and Poyo are going for the coin every single game and then pushing down down here for forecast. Kazian Aspect, bit of an unknown right now, but from what my boy Coach Harry said, I think they died off spawn 6 or 6 games in the OCE Cash Cup before they left, so I don't know how much of a factor they're really going to play into it. Up in the top left, Chapentini are looking like a little bit of a question mark. They've been landing everywhere, literally, over the last like couple weeks practicing. They've just been practicing in every single different spot. I would guess that they're going to do a teeny strat. Probably land in a lot of different locations, try and cut off a bunch of players, camp their loot, all these kind of things. Kind of similar to Teeny did in Chapter 4, Season 3, I think, where they was just like hiding. Have a full video on it as well. King and Phaser, this drop spot's really, really good. Access to dash water. You know, not a lot of people have mobility because there's only Fizz, so they'll guaranteed dashes. They'll be able to move around the map, third party, some of these teams around using them, maybe even up into here as well. So, you know, King and Phaser came over to EU the first season and came like 40th, but they were contesting like the windmills up here, and it wasn't very good. They also did pretty poorly last year at globals. From memory, I don't think they made into what's the word? They didn't make it into finals. Didn't make it out upper or lower bracket. So, you know, I'm not sure how they do. They were contested there as well, so hopefully they can do better this year. I think these are one of the smaller region's best hopes. Trulex Chicho also on spawn, looking good. Ritual, Epic, Will and Muzz, probably just teaming for Surge off spawn, so they're probably going to be chilling. Sky Scroll hunting Kovacs, no idea what these guys are going to do splitting this loot. Rebels is pretty good this season, but still. Mipoli, also, don't know much about them. Buga and Aviv, I mean, with so many people contested to their right, this could be kind of free for them, I'm not going to lie. Same with like Trulex and Chicho here. They're not the best fighting team, so having, you know, Vico and Flixie here, Buga and Aviv up here, Epic, Whale, Rita here, and King and Phaser here, they're heavily surrounded by like really good fighting teams. So, you know, in a meta where fighting will probably be good for Surge, I'm slightly concerned about Trulex and Chicho. They don't really have that firepower. Honestly, don't know what's going to go on up here. This has got to be like one of the worst spots you could possibly con. What even is the loot up here? I mean, you know, you got 2 teams fighting over 6 chests here, 2 in the middle. How many is here? Like 10? Scroll out, yeah. Just okay. Yeah, basically, it's I don't really see any of these teams. This could be a pick for like bottom 2. Not gonna lie. And then, of course, inside Castle Doom. Bit interesting. Reason and Vidil, and then Cheeps and Yomzo. But also with Sharom and Zagu here too. So I'm not sure if they're really going to be able to split this. One of the real big problems with POIs is so awkward to fight. It's one of the like rattiest POIs where people can just hide in corners and buildings and all this kind of stuff. And I really would not want to fight in here if I was any of these teams whatsoever. Same with CZB Nathan. CZB Nathan, I know my boy Harry was talking a lot, pumping them up. They've been doing really good this year. Now contested by Cal and Seven Man, or Haman, I think it's how it's pronounced properly. Oh yeah, this could be scuffed as well, because this POI takes so long to fight off spawn. The metal takes forever to harvest. It's not a 50-50 spot where you both land and just finish the fight quickly. It's really, really scuffed. Of course, Vico Flixie, this, you know, they didn't take a single tick of Surge last season. They had forecast 12 of 12 games, so really easy for them on EU. Bryson Bolts might make that a little bit more difficult this season. We're not entirely sure how that's going to play out, but I'm fairly confident Vico and Flix here, just like a guaranteed top 5, uncontested, probably the most lootations of any team. Look at this, that they have all to themselves. 36, like 40-50 chests, 5 of the Avengers chests, so like they're going to be absolutely stacked to the guilds, I'm not going to lie. This is a 50-50 for last place, and I think that's everyone, pretty much, or all the important ones. So let's get to actually ranking them. FTS winners, top 3, top 5, top 10. Seems to be like an unnecessary amount of categories here. Job and Michael, the Asia team that is potentially getting conned by Chapentini, Ping and Walks. I might just start filling in some of these. Reason and Vidil, I'm going to go top 10-ish for now. Kadu Cian, let me see their stats. So this is the God spreadsheet. The analysis is best friend, Kadu. So what have they done this season? In Brazil, they won 24th and then 17th. Not the finest. They've won a bunch before, so they're obviously a good team on Brazil region. I don't know, I feel like that's a top 40 team or something for now. Let's leave that as it is. Designs demo, bottom 45. The Resign, sorry, demo. They're the ones looking to fight clicks and Vino off spawn. I'm sorry, that's probably not going to happen. Well, Tinkadanath are fighting Adapter FKS. Where's Adapter FKS? Let's also put them in there. Sorry, Adapter and FKS. But like, 50-50ing over this spot? I'm sorry, that's just not going to go well, is it? We got Kazi and Aspect. They're the ones who are currently fighting... Okay, Kazi and Aspect, I feel like they get off... May spawn 1 game, maybe 2. I feel like they're going to get into a top 25. Like, they were really good in OCE, but that really meant... Like, this is really impressive, even for OCE standards. Second, third, first. But that doesn't really mean anything, because it's OCE. And, you know, you can make so many different plays in OCE. I think they're going to bottom... I think top 25 is probably fine. Alex Worthy. I think I'm also going to put them in a top 25. Conning off spawn, Malibuca Murstache. Yeah, I don't think so. Kachoro. I don't know anything about these guys. Over here. Actually, now Uncon. They have a lot of powerhouse teams around them. I'm really not sure how these guys are ever going to get Storm Surge, to be honest with you. With this to your right, these guys here. There might be like scrap, like teams like rotating out here to try and grab loot. What about Keiki and Kachoro? Let's see. Oh. I'm not gonna lie, like these guys just seem to like pop off once. There's some pretty bad placements they have here. My spreadsheet failed me on these two names, but yeah, that's not great. That's not great placement. I think they're maybe a bottom. Die to Surge every game, if I'm completely honest. Phaser King looking like a potential top 10. Persa and Ed, they have been bootcamping in EU and have not done well. So, I don't know. I think they're going to be top 40. Gon and Quanti, mate, absolute last. Quanti also came last. Well, that means I have to bump one of these teams up to top 45. Maybe Job and... maybe Demo and Resigns if they win a game and somehow get forecast. Actually, maybe Adapter FKS. Zagu Shelom. So Zagu Shelom is... They've got a real chance of doing good, I think, here, to be honest. Shelom, or Sharom, apparently it's pronounced Sharom, was 5th last year in Globals. And Zagu's really good. Always cooks with some strats, so I'll put him in the top 10 for now. We'll organize all these afterwards. Bryson Bolts. They're a really tricky one to predict because I don't know what the forecast situation here is going to be. Like, is Vico and Flixie really going to be able to push them, fight them all the time? They can't fish here. They do have access to really fast metal. Surge from this position has always been really tricky. And I don't know if this is where they landed last season. I actually don't know much about them, to be completely honest with you. And how are they looking placement-wise? There you go, Bolts. I spelled it wrong. Nice. 8th and 6th. Respectable placements. Not the worst by any means. You won with Thor? Who's Thor? I don't remember that whatsoever. I don't remember that guy at all, I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, they're really good, but I don't know. I feel like they're probably getting run over by Vico and Flixie a bit. Victor and Paper. I don't know much about these guys. Well, I know who they are. I think I'm just gonna go immediately top 25 for them. Muzz and Epic Whale, top 15. Shadow Virgo. Virgo is an avid training hub user, so he goes straight into top 15 at least. Backup Pars. They are in what has been referenced as the Bermuda Triangle of Surge, which essentially means Backup Pars looking for a tower around here, Booga Rapid here, and Trashy Threats here, and they all just trade Surge with each other. So Surge probably isn't going to be an issue with them. I wouldn't think so. Backup Pars. Where have they been last? Backa. Not the finest of placements, to be honest with you. 10th, 9th, and 12th is consistent, but like, you know, NA is easier than international tournaments will be, surely. So maybe they're like a top 25 in there. Maybe high top 25, I would say. Cal Gamer and Haman. So last year, their placements are crazy, right? A lot of the, you know, Middle East players will think these guys are nuts. But hear me out. Last year, it was with Speedy. So when they started playing together, first last year in Chapter 4 Season 2, Chapter 4 Season 3, crazy. Then went to globals in uppers and came 37th and then 30th. So in uppers and lowers, and didn't make it through to the finals. So not the finest of placement, especially after like winning 2 in a row. Now they've gone back to Middle East. They won, they placed second, they placed first, which is nuts. Like for a small region team, out of the last 5 FNCSs, they've won 4 and they placed second in the other one. So since they started playing together, like that is genuinely incredibly impressive, regardless of if it's Middle East or not. But at internationals, they've not shown to be very good. Contesting in a spot I talked about earlier, where it's really slow to harvest, really slow to rotate. Surge from this position has also been historically very, very tough. You're also contesting CZB and Nathan, and they are really good. I don't know how good they are at fighting off spawn, to be completely honest with you. I would love to see these guys do well. I'll be completely honest with you, because this is super impressive, and we've not had a single Middle East team do well in the Invitational, in the Globals, or in Globals last year. So, you know, I want to see a Middle East team do well in a global event, and this is their best chance, to be honest with you. So I'm from the cope, like I'm gonna put them top 25. That's maybe really pushing it, but I think they're capable of doing that. But I don't know. It's like it depends how good their off spawn goes. To be completely honest, that might. I feel like they come around 25th. I don't think they place better than any of these teams. Hopefully, I'm proven wrong. I know the Middle East commenters will say also otherwise. Arrow and Wazi, I can't remember how to pronounce this. Coming up here. Crisp is also overtaken because Arrow can't be here. Middle East team, I think that they're more than likely going to get keyed by Reason and Vidil as well. So there's another bottom. Not as going to be as bad as Quanti. Maybe we move. Who are we moving up here? Michael and Job, I guess. Ramzu and Clone. Ramzu and Clone, the Spanish team who called through Middle East. Kramzu, sorry. Kramzu. Not great team, I'm going to be honest. Like, they essentially are not a great EU team who then went over to Middle East and qualled. So, you know, they've never been good on EU. Clone, has he done any unlimited grands at all? No, literally just that's it. So, yeah, not the best team out there. Harry, their coach Harry, also does not have high hopes for them, which does not tell me much, but they'll have a good surge plan. They can third party this, I'm sure, maybe even push up here. So they have access to a pad, they have good rotations. The drop spot is not as bad. They have almost zero, no, I was going to say zero metal. They have metal down here, so they should be okay. Rotations, they might get padded on by Queasy and Thomas. They might be able to use that to their advantage, where Queasy's really going to probably rotate this way, pad to pad, and they could take advantage of that, in particular in north zones for Surge. They could take advantage of this. So the Surge strat's not bad. I know they have a coach. So I think we're going to put Kramzu and Clone in the top 40. So like maybe high. I think maybe like 26th to 30th range. Malabuka Mustache. This is one where I'm really not sure on. I don't see Malabuka Mustache winning at all. This off spawn is really bad. Like, there are two things that make this bad. Firstly, the fact that it's mid-map. So mid-map means that most teams can rotate in. As we kind of said earlier, King and Phaser, Batman, Booged Rapper, if they want to, I don't know if that's really a strat they would do. I don't think they're that aggressive of a team. They're more like Trulix and Chicho, but King and Phaser are definitely the type of team to loot, grab a bunch of dashes, and just set up in here and try and third party. So if this fight goes on for a long time, this could be a problem. And the thing is, this fight probably will go on for a long time, because like one team splits lands here, another team split lands here. The fight, you know, you're getting scrap loot, scrap mats, taking shots at each other, you're wasting it. Like, it's not a 50-50 drop spot, and there's a lot of teams that can rotate in. That being said, if Malabuka Mustache gets 6 of the games one off spawn, I think they're in the top 15. Like, no doubt. I think we put them top 15, probably high up there. Maybe 11th. The other alternative is that this could just be really good for Malabuka Mustache, where they just insta-kill them and get easy surge, and then just loot up. Restored Reels, not the finest of drop spots. Malabuka Mustache on a mid-map drop, kind of similar to how they won. It's weird. This is usually, you know, they're a team that usually goes for like now the best POIs, you know, so you'd expect them to be at something like the Raft or maybe up in Castle Doom. But, you know, I think they chose the drop spot when jetpacks were still in, and now jetpacks are out. So now this is not a great drop, and it's conned by Alex and Worthy. So yeah, not the best setup, but I think, you know, if you know anything about them, if you've watched my video covering those guys, if they do good off spawn, like the games that they get off spawn, sorry, are like they just cook every time. They're insane. Queasy Thomas. This is a really interesting one because these guys have been shockingly bad for the majority of the year. Outside of the first season. So first season, second, amazing, really good performance. A 7th, which started to look pretty shaky. Was this the one they were triple con? So this is one they had 3 teams contesting them in Mount Olympus. So not a bad performance. And then a 35th, which by Queasy standards, like, you know, look at these placements. He didn't call that one, which wasn't great, but yeah, not ideal. He has had obviously really good placements when it comes to internationals. Like, I think we need to remember that. The second at FNCS Invitational, and then last year second in the uppers, so did really good. And then 11th, which was a bit disappointing because I think Queasy and Vino were like the #1 pick to do good when it came, like probably most people's predictions to win globals last year. So 11th was maybe a little bit under. I'm not really sure where to put these guys because their drop spot, if they're uncon here, is pretty good. Queasy's always been a good like edge map player. He's not the kind of player who like lands center. His rotations are really good here. He's not very confident in his zero mobility meta, which this is, so that's not great. But they have Thomas. Not really worried about Surge for these guys, even though they did struggle a lot with Surge last season. But of course, you know, there was a bit of a shocking one. They hadn't been practicing that much. My understanding is that Thomas also has not been grinding that much. Could be wrong. Not been speaking to them, so I'm just making, you know, listening to the trees, as they say. That's definitely not a saying, but I said it. I think these guys top 10. I think like they are fundamentally one of the strongest teams here, but it really depends on just like how do they show up on the day, in my eyes. I think that's the best way to word it. Chapentini, man. This is a really interesting one. So Teeny, I think it's 2 Y's, is it? Nope. 2 Y's, that's not. My spreadsheet's lying to me here. There we go. There was a 37th there, which I just... Sometimes this spreadsheet has them on different names. I need to sort that shit out, but... So, at Globals, Teeny has done good. You know, people always talk about, oh, Teeny's such a cheater, blah, 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 blah. But Teeny has done good at Globals last year. Like 17th for his first international. At that time, he'd done 1 good placement. Yeah, he's solid. I'm not really concerned about Teeny's performance at LAN. Then, obviously, picking up Chap. Chap is now just a true first-timer. I need to change this. These are not his... This is... What's that say? International. Okay, that's wrong. Okay, so basically, these are NA Chap, different Chap, so ignore that. My spreadsheet's not cooking. There's a Brazil Chap as well. Jesus. Basically, these are his only 2 placements. His first 2 FNCS, he's placed second and second. So I'm not sure, will they shit the bed? Will he be, you know, not perform on LAN? There's high expectations on him, so will like the kind of pressure get to him? I don't really know anything. I don't know anything about his like personality-wise, so I don't know if he's like going to be nervous come to this event. There's a lot of expectations on Champ to do good. A lot of people saying he cheats because he's just popped off so good. Me personally, watching his gameplay, not seen anything that would make me suggest that, other than the fact that he's just incredible and he is the truth. Maybe he is, maybe he's not. I'm gonna believe. I am fully believing in a top 5 from Chap and Teeny. This drop spot, like I said earlier, I think they're gonna have a lot planned. The one thing I know about Teeny is he always cooks up some crazy strats. He plans for so many different scenarios, which is, in this particular case, is really, really useful. Again, I have a full video covering the worst Fortnite strategy I've ever seen and why it's brilliant, which was Teeny and Misha, how they came third and how they hid in corners and stuff, which is awesome. That's on my main channel, of course. I'm a believer. Top 5. Sitting Cammy. I'm not gonna lie. Bold prediction. We'll see. Maybe I'll put another team up here which can fight for this as we go through. I think Seti and Cammy are going to take it home. Now, respectfully, this has been their worst year by a long shot. by a long shot. Look at these placements from Seti and Cammy. Now they split. The only season they didn't play together, Chapter 3, Season 1. Is that the only season they've not played together? Yeah, the only season they haven't played together. But like, you know, last year when they came second, there was like good stuff to write home about. A 5th and a 4th, but you know, generally a pretty lackluster placement. That was pretty ass for them. Same the year before in Chapter 3, starting a 44th and then a 5th, 9th, and before they came in to win the Invitational. I know they weren't really grinding that much even into this, from my understanding. This year, similar slow start, qualled 48th. Embarrassing for them, I'll be honest. Of a team of their caliber, to be conned off spawn and lose 48th, not a great sign. So I think it's a really bold prediction saying they're going to win. Now, this is questionable because, as we said, they are uncon currently in the same drop spot. But this no mobility meta for guys like Cammy and Seti is literally perfect. The ability for them, like, they're going to always have good planned rotates, good planned positions. They're probably one of the most prepped teams in the entire lobby. And international stage, first and second, the two placements they've had so far, Cammy is literally the LAN GOAT. If we're just looking at LANs in Fortnite, Cammy is the best LAN player so far. I think they're going to come with a good strat. I think they're going to cook. I'm fully believing, which is a very bold prediction, because also I also think that Chapantini, Boop said they might just land on Cammy and Seti, which is also a possibility, which could completely derail this prediction. But if Cammy and Seti remain uncon for 12 games, I am a believer. I am a believer. I think they could do it. We'll see if there's other teams that I think might go ahead of them, and we can talk about that as we go, but I'm a believer. Vidil Reason, anytime you put Vidil Reason out of the top 10, they place top 10. Like, look at their placements this year. Reason. I think it's Reason A. Yeah. Unreal. These ones are probably aren't right. I need to fix my spreadsheet. I've basically redone it all recently, and it's not entirely correct. So some of these might just be, if I just type Reason, maybe it's in there. Yeah, there's a bunch in there as well. So like really consistent placements. This year, they've like Vidil Reason are just that team which you don't really think about, and then they just place top 10 every game, every time. 7th, 4th, 5th. Watching Reason, he seems absolutely primed up right now. Vidil's probably primed on Valorant. But I'm sure they're probably not going to disappoint. I'll be completely honest. What did... I think they both stunk it up at Globals last year from memory. What did Vidil do? He was playing Savage, wasn't he? Yeah, they weren't that good throughout the year. That was last chance major was just like all the good teams were gone. So them winning was cool, but same with Lores. It's like, Lores. 36th in Globals. So yeah, I'm a believer. I'm going to put them in the top 10. Andlex Sato. Now, Andlex Sato is a really interesting combination because Andlex is like... How do you spell that wrong? That's it, yeah. Andlex is obviously an OG. He won the first Duos FNCS ever. Landing at... Oh, I can't remember the name of the POI. It was to the west of the map in Chapter 2. Someone will remind me in the comments, I'm sure. And was like a staple. He was like arguably the best French player, maybe outside of Nate, for most of Chapter 2. Always like a super consistent player in there. I've already reviewed a lot of him back then. He was always really interesting to watch. For a very smart, knowledgeable player. He had a pretty crazy drop-off, I'm not going to lie. Like, you know, Chapter 3 and Chapter 4 was not his finest few years. But now teaming up with Sato, who's like, you know, a little creative wager guy. Nuts fighter. You know, a 10th and a 5th. Now, this 10th as well, he was contested off spawn. They were landing on like 6 to 10 chests because they ended up getting some scrappy loot. Won 2 games from memory. Did really good. So, Andlex and Sato have proved that they can do well on like very minimal amount of chests. So, with them being contested at Brutal, if they dip, which this is a really difficult POI to like dip from, like run away, because the sight lines here are so open. Maybe you can go north if you use the ring. It's hard to say. I think these guys can do good out with a couple games. To be honest with you, being conned by like Acorn and Cold are, you know, Cold is like arguably one of the best players in the world. There are certain occasions where you could say he's the best individual player. You know, you got Peterbot and Vino and stuff like that too. But in the conversation for best player currently, tough fight off spawn. I'm not gonna lie. So I think they're putting themselves in a top 20, 5. So, yeah, somewhere between like 16th and 25th. I think that's fair. We'll rearrange them after, as I said already. Hutty Kovacs, sorry. I know that seems brutal just to slap them in bottom 5. But like, you know, whatever's going on off spawn here, I don't know. Hutty and Kovacs, players have been around for a long time. Respect them. But like, they aren't the finest placements of all time. You know, I'll be totally honest. Same with Kovacs. I think it's like that. It's Kovacs XD, is it? How do I remember that? Yeah, 13th and 22nd. Like, not the finest of placements of all time. I'll be completely honest with you. So, I don't have much faith. Maybe they could do good. That'd be sick. Vico Flexi. Big boys. I'm going to put these in top 3 for now. And think of what I'll do is I'll come back to them. We'll talk about top 3 analysis. I'll kind of go between all of them later when we come back through. CZB and Nathan. I think this is another top 25 team. Unfortunately, like, these guys would be a big pick. But again, as we mentioned, fighting off spawn Grand Glacier against Calgamer, man, might benefit them a little bit, but no. Pink and Walks, pretty certain they're going to be in top 10. There's already 2 teams here, top 5. Do I want them top 5? I don't know. I don't have as much faith in these guys as a lot of people. Pink and Walks, a lot of people are talking about them. I feel like a lot of people are talking about Pink and Walks just because they had so much loot. Like, they covered so much space here. They have dashes that a lot of people don't. But I don't know. Like, their placements have just not been that good. Like, they're good players, no doubt. But there's nothing in here in placement wise that would make me go, yeah, these guys have been good. Like, they've done good in cash cups outside of FNCS, but I don't put that much weight on that unless it backs up how good they've done in FNCS too. So and for me, I think these are more of a top 10 team. I feel like I'm going to put these up here, maybe for deal reason, top 5. I think they're a top 10 team, no doubt. Especially like they've got such a good off spawn situation. Maybe unless Chapantini 50-50 them or something, which is a possibility. But I don't know. I've not seen the proof that these guys are like a top 5 team yet. Janice Pixie. Now, this is another pick who could be really good. They're one of these teams that land down here. Redline Rig, completely to themselves. Really good metal. Depends how many plants they get, but they have a couple plants here so that they can save heals. How many is it exactly? Let's see. Yeah, depend. I don't think they'll really get access to any of these. I'll be completely honest. But they have at least 2 plants. I don't know if they use these in their early game to try and save anything, but they can rotate past these 2, grab a couple. I doubt Kameen City would get these, but if you're Kameen City, I think you shoot these plants out so that Janice and Pixie can't use them for heals regardless, just to grief them, because they don't respawn in competitive if you don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Redline Rig's a really good spot regardless. Like, there's cap metal for both of you, which is a rarity here. You know what's really interesting is one of the worst parts about this drop spot is actually the wood. Like, it's really difficult to get capped wood from this area. You have to, like, either rotate here, you have to rotate up past these kind of areas where a lot of these teams already go. So, I mean, it could be worse. You could have no metal and no metal and cap wood, the other way around. But regardless, I think these guys are a real good team. Great description, I know. Where would I put them, though? Do I think... I think they're a top 15 team, maybe. This is another team who could... Kind of similar to, like, Cooper and Miro last year. They're a team that, like, yeah, they could be top 15, and then they could just win the entire tournament. That's, like... that's the reality of it. Like, Janice... Janice hasn't had the best placements recently. I'll be honest. Like an 8th last season. But Janice always just kind of like randomly wins an FNCS every now and then. So like, this could be his time. I have faith. Next, we got Sky and Scroll. Kind of similar. I'll be real, like, kind of similar. You know, contesting off spawn up at the top. Here, one of the most unexperienced teams. Scroll, you know, they've been good. Like, they've been there, which is awesome. I don't know enough about them to really, like, say they're going to do amazing. I think maybe they're just they've been better than Hutty and Kovacs. Maybe they're just like a top 25 team as well. Wait, top 26th to 40 team. Where is this? Oops. No, they stay there. Iomzo and Cheeps. Tough one to say. Honestly. Because Cheaps is kind of just like somehow made it here in his first year. I don't know if it's like, because Turtle's really good. I don't know if I don't really know much about Turtle. I don't really know. Yeah, that's his first grands. Okay, I don't really know much about Cheaps, to be honest. Good pop off playing with the Omzo, who also is obviously like a really established player. Did good last year in globals. Didn't make it to Invitational the year before, unfortunately. Has been like a really solid player generally. I just don't know how good Cheaps is and how good like this duo will do. I feel like this is like a top 25 team, maybe. Probably quite high, like top 16, 17. I think they do better than all of these teams, to be honest. But this is another team I also think could do really good, so yeah. Prism Casper, low-key underrated pick. You know, they got really buffed by the removal of jetpacks because this spot was horrific. Like, you know, if you basically get them from Avengers chests, and as you can see, 0 Avengers chest spawns here. They have access to tons of, what are they called? The shield plants. A lot in their drop, which means they can save so much. Like, so many heals. They can trade surge with teams around them because they're probably going to have extra heals left over. This is where I drop in solos and duos. So, like, I know this area pretty well. I know you're going to have extra heals left over. If, you know, you can get unlucky in some of these drops areas. But still, access to a lot of metal as well. Really solid drop, and it's like not that far from a lot of the rings, like the rotational rings that you get around here, which I don't know if like a lot of other teams like Rise and Nature are boxed up on, but regardless, I think these guys are like a low-key sleeper pick to come where? They're top 11th last season, which was good 43rd of the season before. I think, was that the one they got disqualified from? I think it might have been, yeah. I think they're like a top, they go in the top 25. Up here somewhere, yeah. Trulex and Chicho, man, this is a really tough one. This is a really tough one for me. Last year they were really good. I think it's like last year they were just generally really good. And they won like 2 games in globals, 2 of the 6 games. Had a crazy comeback and placed 3rd. This year, you know, it's funny, looking at their placements, it's not that different. I feel like they struggled so much in like other rounds though, which I can't think it was it like Cash Cups they struggled in? I can't remember. You know what's interesting? I didn't realize they didn't qualify last season's or last chapter's first season as well. It's a very like similar year they've had. They could easily be like a top 5 pick, but I do worry about them being I just worry with all these like aggressive teams surrounding them in a meta where it's not ideal for them for Surge. Because last year they could kind of just trade Surge with Tayson and Merstash in wherever it was at the east of the map in chapter 4. But now it's like, I'm not sure. I know like Trulex is a really good IGL. He'll come up with a good strat for Surge. Like, they're not going to, I'm not concerned about that. Are they playing for Forecast? Surely not. I don't know where the Forecast spawns is on this. Another Forecast spawn. Is that what they're playing for? That'd be crazy. I don't really see them being a Forecast team, so. Or winning the Forecast fight. Especially with like Vico and Flixie push up and stuff, so. Yeah, I'm not 100% confident in this. They are like incredible. I maybe put them top 15. I'll be real. This might be a low for them now. I feel like they could definitely do better than this. Gyros and Chari, man. They're like a team who 2 eyes, is it? Yeah. It's like they're really actually consistent. I feel like it would be criminal not putting these guys in the top 20. Because look at these placements. It's just like they're just always there. Like, you know, they're not vying for like a top 5. I think they go top. I think I have to put these 15th. Or do I feel like Gyros and Chara are going to do better than Zagu? No, probably not. So put them there, I think. I might have the wrong amount of people in each tier, but we'll sort it out. Agers and Rise. Oh my god. Middle East's best team. As I mentioned earlier, Agers and Rise are you know, they're essentially a Middle East team because they filled from 2 Middle East players, as I said earlier. So the joke will be that they are Middle East's finest team. Rise and Agers, good team. It's interesting they didn't qual themselves after like a super consistent year. Obviously, well, Yomzo and Rise were playing first, and then they switched and placed 13th. I don't know how much practice they've put in. I'm sure they'll come with a good game plan. I think this is again. There should be 5 teams in here. Top 25. They're a Middle East team, so we got to put them. We got to take them down a little bit at least. Mipoli and Coyotas at the team up here. No, where they landed? Up here. I don't know much about these guys. Toyota, let's have a look. Toyota. God damn! I forgot about these guys. That's really impressive. Second, third, and first on Asia. Hold up. Now, I don't know if these guys are actually good, though, in an international environment, because I don't think none of these players have been to... Okay, that's my crazy filter. Exmpoli. Exmipoli? Mipoli? I don't know how you pronounce that. Mipoli? Yeah, none of them have been to international before, so none of them played outside of Asia. That is really impressive. Although Asia is a smaller region, like second, third, first, like come on, that's really good. I am a hater though of small regions. Low key, is that just like, are they just like a sleeper team that could do real good? Do I have faith? That's the question. Do I have faith in a second, third, first? Are they? Though I mean, they're better than Zagu and Sharom technically. So do I move them down and move them up? Ooh, that could be a bold prediction. Top 10, the Asia team. Do they have good surge? No. Maybe. This drop spot's not good though, is it? I used to land here in solos. It was not good. I think a lot of their... You know what? This is one of those shambles. Surely this is just awful. No, maybe there's enough to play for. That would be a bold prediction. I think that's too bold putting them in top 10. I'll be honest. Zagu Sharon, get up there. You're in a better drop spot. I think... Is that fair? Yeah, I think that's fair. Potentially sleeper team. I don't know. I don't know enough about them to put them higher. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, we need to start moving teams around here. Rise and Yuma. This is Asia Rise and Yuma. Yuma is like another Asia player who's done really good. Yeah. No, he went to Stinky. Yuma was Stinky last year. After a really good year, to be honest with you. And didn't make it out. Sorry, Yuma. Top 40. Jukes and Sphinx, another team I'm not even going to analyze. They could be somewhere... If they don't do good, coming out of, you know, Uncon Brawlers, where they can probably trade Surge with Jan's Pixie, like, okay, those guys just suck ass. Aviv Buga, another situation where they're good. I've watched so many Booga games where I'm like, I just know how messy these guys are. Boogs, the Boogs. I should probably add World Cup in here. 3rd and 7th. Pretty good. Pretty good. Boogs. Where are we putting you, Boogs? Top 15, maybe. I'd love to see a Booga win. That'd be crazy. Bobby Larkpex. Sorry, you guys are conned off spawn. Acorn Cold. Is that too high? That's too high. But do I believe in... Change my mind. Ooh. Okay, I'll mess around with this later. Hold on. I'll come back to that. Oh, I forgot about Peterbot and Poyle. Oh, and there's so many other good teams in here, mate. Alright, I'm going to struggle. Okay, let's just... Peterbot and Poyle. They gotta be top 3. Sorry, Kweezy. I changed my mind. Ritual and Reet. Alright, let's just start stacking them up here. Commander Cooper, Messi team, probably in the top 10 somewhere. Batman Booger Rapid, another potential top team, but Clicks and Veno, another like in contender here. Trashy Threats. I'm sorry, these guys are just not doing good. Okay, let's actually start organizing them then, because these are all categories are all horrifically wrong. All right, I've just spent an hour almost trying to figure out why there's only 49 teams and why Vadil and Reason are here twice. And that's because Swizzy and Yapco are missing, and they're not written. Instead, they are Vadil and Reason for whatever. So they're one of the teams who are contesting the raft here. Swizzy, if it was Swizzy and Vanyak, mate, they're a top 3 pick. Yapco, not the best player. Competitively, I will be honest. Not the best fill. His performances in Grand Finals have not been good. with Quanti placed 16th in NA last season, which is also not great. However, Swizzy is literally the GOAT. Not literally, but close. He won FNCS with Putrick, and if you know the damage stats there, that was crazy because he basically doubled Putrick's damage. He was a hard carry. I'm not going to say he carried an entire FNCS win, but it was pretty close. And then he's become first and third. So I actually believe Swizzy and Yapko, it could be a top 10. Yeah, I'm gonna put him here. Igor and Cold go down. This goes down to 16th. Goes down to here. Boom, we figured it out. Thank God. Oh my God, that took me so long to realize why that was wrong. So this is not Reason and Vidil. This is Swizzy and Yapko, okay? Swizzy and Yapko. I can't change it, unfortunately. All right, ignore all of these. Let's see who. So everything but my top 5 is correct. So put them all down here. My mic's going crazy. Let's put them all down here. Who do we think is going to win? Who's going to be the worst out of these? So this is really interesting. I think Ritual and Reet are 5th. From memory, like neither Reet. So their replacements are incredibly consistent. Not a single win in duos at all. Same with Ritual. Ritual's amazing. Really good player, but similarly, you know, no wins at the minute. As far as like the caliber teams here, I feel like 5th is a fine place for Ritual and Reet. Clicks and Vino, do I see them winning? Man, it's a tough. A lot of people are saying they could easily win it here. I don't know, this situation, this could be literally just free surge for them, I'm not going to lie. Then the question is Peterbot and Poyle going to push up the hill? They're going to be really prepped. They're going to be really well prepped. A top 5, I feel like, is almost guaranteed for them somewhere. But how much better do they play? 4th? I feel like I'm okay with 4th for Clicks and Vino. Peterbot and Poyle, let's move these guys up. So it comes down to, like, who do I think is going to win between Peterbot, Poyle, Kamisei, and Vico and Flixie? For me, Peterbot and Poyle, off rip, there's too many unanswered questions here. 4 teams land at the raft. Like, although these probably will be okay, I'm not like 100% confident that they're gonna do enough to win in comparison to like some of these other uncon teams, like Kamisei. I feel like 3rd place is fine for them. Vico and Flixie. All I have to base this on, like Vico's placements have been really good. Obviously now he just played Flixie last season and they were insane. Same coach as Peterbot and Poyle, same kind of play style, really focusing on forecast. I'm not sure how they're going to be in a zero mobility meta because the mobility was pretty beneficial for them to try and key last season. And to get to kind of go between the forecast tower spawns, make sure they got there early. No one really fought them for it. I think without that, they would still do really, really good, but I'm not so certain now that Bryson Bolts are in this era that they're not going to be as slowed down. They're not going to get it as often. They're not going to have the ability to go down and grab the forecast from Rise Nagers as easy as they did in the one game they got it in Grands last season. I think Peterbot Poyo I'm going to go over and Kami Seti in first. I think that's an incredibly bold prediction, doing Kami and Seti to win after the year that they've had. But I'm not unhappy with the top 5. Top 10 as well, I'm not unhappy with. I feel like there's a... To be honest with you, top 15, I'm pretty happy with. Here is where I feel kind of bad, having teams like Trulix and Chicho that low, Malabuka Mustache, Muzz Epic, Aegis Rise. Like, I feel like this is 16th to 25th. I feel not too happy. Same with like Eons or Cheaps and 26th isn't that bad for them. Actually, I'm happy with that. Okay, that's going to be it. Let me get a full screen version. Save or download. Download image. Let's full screen this. There we go. There is my final predictions for the FNCS Global Championships. Come watch my stream on Saturday and Sunday to tell me how wrong I am, because I'm sure it's going to be extremely wrong. They always are. Like, predictions are always wrong. As much as I like to try and make them as good as possible, there's literally no way you can predict what's going to happen here. It could be any random team who pops off and wins. As much as I put hate on the small regions, I do hope one of them does well. I really hope the Middle East team does good, because they never do good. OCE, boys, you're not on the map. You're on the bottom. Same with the leaderboards. Like, come on, you got to pop off somewhere. And maybe Kami Seti win would be an absolutely crazy prediction for me. So let me know who you guys think are winning down below and how crap my predictions are. Peace.